Salem City Council will meet on Thursday, September 23rd, 2021 at 7 p.m. to hold its regular meeting for the purpose of discussing any and all business via remote participation in accordance with Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2020. Information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the city's website at salem.com. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will post on the city's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch, listen, or provide comment, if applicable during the meeting, may do so by following the link provided in the agenda. You can also join the meeting via zoom.us/join and enter the meeting webinar ID 831-1814-6378. and follow by the meeting password as provided in the agenda. For those dialing in, you can dial 877-853-5257 or 888-475-4499. Both are toll-free numbers, and when prompted, enter meeting webinar ID 831-1814-6378. If you would like to speak while dialing in, press *9 to raise your hand if you sign up for public testimony or to participate in the public hearing portion of the agenda this evening. This meeting is being broadcast live on SATV on channel 22 as well as Facebook. Members of the public wishing to speak on the agenda items must follow how to sign up for public testimony outlined in the agenda. Regular meeting of the City Council is being held remotely via Zoom on Thursday, September 23rd, 2021 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on September 21st, 2021 at 10 a.m. This meeting is being recorded and live on SATV. Councilors absent, just Councilor Dibble. Councilor Dibble is absent. Council President Madore presided. Councilor McCarthy moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? I see 10 hands. All opposed? The matter carries. President Madore requests that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Mustillo.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First up, we have public testimony. We have two members of the public signed up tonight. First is Mr. Jeff Cohen. Jeff, are you here? Let the record reflect that Councilor Dibble just joined us. Madam City Clerk, I see him. Oh, there we go.
Excuse me, Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street, Salem. Although I very much support the raising of the domestic violence awareness flag and the resolution for resettlement of Afghan refugees, I'm speaking tonight specifically about my disappointment in what transpired during the Government Services Subcommittee meeting at 6 o'clock. The easiest path isn't always the right one. The agenda for the Government Services Subcommittee meeting included relocation of the Andrew Jackson portrait, and yet that was not addressed during the meeting. And I hope it will be for these reasons. I do not believe the Andrew Jackson portrait should be on display anywhere on municipal property. He was, like many other presidents, a slave owner, but he stood up specifically as a priority in his presidency against abolishing slavery. More problematic is that the 1830 Indian Removal Act was his act. And in 1838, hundreds of thousands of Native Americans were forcibly taken from their homes, incarcerated inhumanely, and then forced to walk over 1,000 miles to another place in Oklahoma, 1,000 miles from their land. More than 4,000 Cherokee died during the Trail of Tears. The only way history matters is it when it reflects truth. When it ignores egregious acts, it further subjugates the oppressed. So I'm hoping at some point that this council will again address the removal of the Andrew Jackson portrait, not only from the chamber, but from municipal property. I'm very grateful, as I think many people are, in that the representative of NOMCAG will have a portrait in the chamber. And I felt very much that Councilor Prosnewski's original motion during the meeting to put it in a prominent place. When you walk in, you could see it on the wall behind the podium, is an appropriate place to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen, for taking the time to testify tonight. Next, we have Mr. Fawaz Abushak.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Councilor Marcello. Somehow when I gave Dominic host ability to get on Facebook, when the names jump, you became host. Do you mind if you can make me host and take you off as host? Sorry. Technology.
Here we go.
Thank you. All right, Fuzzy, that's fine, yeah. Okay, Fuzzy, you're unmuted. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Fawaz Abushak, 4 Harrison Road, Salem, Mass. And today I am actually speaking for myself and as a Muslim leader of the North Shore and North America, and the communication and public relation representative, elected representative. I've been for many years, but I didn't say it before. But today I am for the Muslim community in the North Shore and the Islamic side of the North Shore, and part of the Masjid Collaborative, which is the most collaborative of Massachusetts and North America. And I'm talking about this order about the Afghani resettlement. First of all, I need to let people know that those refugees, they come with money from the government, the federal government, and from the state. So for the city, there is hardly any expense whatsoever. And their resettlement is guaranteed under all circumstances. And many, many communities, I don't know of a single community around the United States that opposed the resettlement of those Afghani refugees. But nobody did an order. And what bugged me the most, and this is why I'm speaking officially, not just as Fuzzy, is when I see Mayor Kim Driscoll and Councillor Hapworth, who for 2 years blocked the Muslims and discriminated against the Muslim in the trust group that they were in it. This is not the first time I bring this up in front of all of you. You heard me. This is the 4th time in an official Salem City Council meeting that I bring up that stop the Islamophobia, stop blocking the Muslims. And nothing happened. And some councillors did speak to the mayor about this. Councillor Hapworth wasn't one of them. And he was part of that board, that, the trust, whatever their name is, he wasn't one of them. The others did, and she still refused to allow the Muslims. She still blocked the Muslims. So now to come up with something like this,
Mr.
That is
Upshaw,
meaningless. And on top-
could you keep to the issue and refrain
I
from?
am in the issue,
personal attack on what
Madam
happened?
President.
Or
I am in the very issue, Madam President. Then to tie our name to an ordinance of 4 years that didn't mean anything, which is the Sanctuary for Peace, and that's on the agenda because they put it, that was not about peace or sanctuary, and this is not about Afghanis. As a Muslim leader, and as the Muslim community, through you, Madam President, please take that out of the agenda. There is no need for it. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do support. It doesn't help. This is a campaigning issue. This is not a real refugees or anything issue. And it's shame on all of us if we bring it up. Please take it off the agenda.
Thank you.
Well, and as Muslim community, we talked about this and we discussed this, and we are very angry when our refugees are being exposed, our suffering, our pain, all these things is being exposed for political gain. Shame on everybody who participates in this. We are not a game to play with.
Thank you. I'm going to mute you now, and you can submit a letter for public testimony regarding the resolution.
Well, it's about the...
And that concludes public testimony. Next, we have hearings. Madam City Clerk?
Council McCarthy has his hand raised.
Oh, Council McCarthy.
Madam President, before we take up hearings, do we want to go out of order for Mayor Driscoll and Chief Miller, since they're in attendance and ready to, they submitted a letter to address the city council, or do you want to take, it's entirely up to you or the body. Where I see them both in attendance, I was just curious if you wanted to take them up first, or if you wanted to just wait till they're regular part of the agenda.
I have plans to take them up after appointments.
Okay. Fair enough.
Madam City Clerk.
Held from the last meeting of September 9th, 2021, an order from Verizon Wireless to install telecommunications on Bridge Street.
Thank you. Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the public hearing be kept open until our next meeting, October 14th, 2021.
Councilor Cardy moves to keep the public hearing open until the next meeting on October 14, 2021. Further hearings.
We have an order from Comcast to install conduits at Bridge Street.
If anyone would like to speak in favor, please raise your hand. I see Mr. Llewellyn. Hands raised.
Mr. Llewellyn, if you like to speak, you may state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Dave Llewellyn, Comcast, 9 Forbes Road, Woburn, Massachusetts. I would like to speak in favor of the Comcast petition for Bridge Street to place 363 feet of conduit, 3-inch conduit, for the purpose of providing service to 136 through 146 Bridge Street.
Thank you. Anybody else speaking in favor of this installation? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, anyone appearing in opposition? Seeing none, Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the public hearing be closed by roll call vote.
Councilor Riccardi moves that the public hearing be closed by roll call vote. Madam, we'll just move to the roll call. Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Crosby,
Yes.
Councilor Marcello,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On closing the public hearing for Comcast to install conduits at Bridge Street, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, the matter carries. Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted by roll call vote.
Councilor Riccardi moved that this be granted by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Council Mustillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
On granting the order for Comcast to install conduits on Bridge Street, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, the matter carries. Further hearings.
Madam President, Councilor Dibble has his hand up.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I think the Ward 1 counselor had a good idea. I think we have 3 or 4 more of these, and that was the easiest public hearing we're going to have tonight. I would suggest that we free up our police chief and the mayor out of respect for them, and let's hear what they have to say. I'm respectfully asking you to reconsider because otherwise we're going to tie them up for another hour or so.
I had informed the mayor's chief of staff in advance that I'm taking the matter up after the appointment, and I am running this meeting. Further hearings.
We have an order from National Grid to install conduits at Bridge Street and Washington Street.
Anybody appearing in favor?
I don't see the, sorry. Sabita, you can, go ahead, Sabita, please state your name and, address for the record.
Sure. Sabita Mahabir Sheehy, representing National Grid, 44 River Street, Beverly, Massachusetts. This is to provide service to Verizon facility going in at that location.
Thank you. Anybody else appearing in favor, please raise your hand or dial *9. Seeing none, anyone appearing in opposition? Seeing none, Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the public hearing be closed by roll call vote.
Councilor Riccardi moved that the public hearing be closed. Madam City Clerk.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Council Mustillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On closing the public hearing on this order for National Grid to install conduits on Bridge and Washington Street, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries. Public hearing is closed. Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted by roll call vote.
Councilor Riccardi moved that this be granted by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Council Marcello,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On the motion to grant this order for National Grid to install conduits at Bridge in Washington, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter is granted. Further hearings.
We have an order from National Grid to install conduits on Loring Ave.
I see Ms. Mahabir raising her hand to speak in favor. Sabita, go ahead.
Am I still unmuted?
Yes, you are. You're still able to talk, Sabita.
All right, thank you. This is to provide service to 602 Loring Ave, the new facility at that location.
Thank you. Anybody else appearing in favor? Please raise your hand. Seeing none. Anyone appearing in opposition, please raise your hand. Seeing none. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. This is something that I think we should just instantly approve. It's a necessary means to get utilities into the new building down in the Swampscott Salem border, the old KinderCare property. So I encourage everybody to vote in favor of this.
Okay. Counselor DeBoer, would you like to move to close the public hearing?
I move that the public hearing be closed.
Thank you. Counselor DeBoer moved that the public hearing be closed by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
and Counselor Madore.
Yes. On Counselor DeBoer's motion to close the public hearing for National Grid to install conduits on Loring Ave, we have 11 counselors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries. Counselor DeBoer.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I move that it be granted and we vote by roll call vote.
Counselor DeBoer moved that this be granted by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
and Counselor Madore.
Yes. On the matter to grant National Grid to install conduits on Loring Ave, we have 11 counselors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries.
Thank you.
Hearing.
We have an order for National Grid to install gas pressure regulator station at Harbor and Washington Street.
Anyone appearing in favor?
Yes, we have Chris Mayer.
Go ahead,
Chris,
Mr.
if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Chris Marr, National Grid, 100 Commercial Street, Malden. And this is a request to update and improve National Grid's existing gas regulator station located in the sidewalk across from number 3 Harbor Street. These improvements will include installing a telemetry cabinet, which is identical to a traffic signal cabinet, and also installing associated conduits to provide electric power and communications to the cabinet. The cabinet will be located on the grassed edge at the intersection of Harbor and Washington Street and will allow us to remotely monitor the gas system pressure from our control room in real time.
Thank you. Anyone else appearing in favor? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, anyone appearing in opposition? Seeing none, Councilor Turrill.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have one question. What is the comparative dimensions? Because I couldn't really get this from the technical drawing. What are the comparative dimensions of what's there now versus what you're proposing to install?
So our new installation is just going to be a new traffic cabinet. The existing regulator station is below grade in the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Our new installation will just be a traffic cabinet adjacent to that facility. And the dimensions are about 2 feet wide by 3 feet long, and it stands about 4 feet high.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to simply say National Grid is doing a pretty good job of work throughout the city on replacing several gas mains, including out in front of my house right now, actually my whole neighborhood, and they're just about done. But on this one location and in several other locations scattered around the city, National Grid has dropped the ball a little bit in some of our brick or concrete sidewalks and replacing it with hot top. So I'm concerned that like materials be replaced because some 3 decades ago, I was charged with designing and building the perimeter sidewalk around the park, Lafayette Park on Lafayette, Washington, and Harbor Streets. And some of the repairs that were done right in this location did not match the existing sidewalk. So I'd like to put a condition on this, Madam President, if I may, that the full concrete panels be saw cut and replaced with alternating broom finish concrete to match the existing park perimeter sidewalk panels. That way there, Madam President, we have a replacement of the sidewalk that's needed. And I applaud National Grid for installing this device. It'll help keep all of Salem safer. But let's get the sidewalk repaired properly so it matches what's there now. So if I can read that back if you like, Madam President.
Go ahead.
Okay, a condition that the full concrete sidewalk panels be saw cut and replaced with alternating broom finish concrete panels to match the existing park's perimeter sidewalk panels.
I won't have you read it back to me again, but I'll add the condition and request that you send the specific language to our Madam City Clerk so it is in, or our Assistant City Clerk to include it in the actual order.
I'd be happy to. I'll do that right after this meeting. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further, Councillor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I did actually have two questions regarding this. With this gas pressure regulator station, would it normally purge any high pressures where people would get an odor of mercaptan in the area? And number two, is there any danger of any leaks if the above grade box that you're installing, if that gets knocked over? Will that have anything to do with the amount of pressures in the system where it would be taken out? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marr?
So the venting or purging, none of that will happen under normal conditions. This is strictly to monitor, and it does have the ability to remotely adjust the pressure if necessary. Typically, the lines coming into this box are about 1/4 inch in size, which is smaller than even a home service gas line. And in the event, it will have bollards on either side to protect it from traffic. But in the event it does get hit, there is no damage, no possibility of damage or increased pressure to the system. The regulators that are in the vaults are separate and independently designed so that in the event of an emergency, the traffic blocks will not affect the operation of those regulators if something does happen or it does get hit. But there is, if a car was to hit it and take it out, there is a chance of a small release of natural gas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from members of the council? Seeing none. Seeing none, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just say also I appreciate learning something from the questions that the Ward 4 councilor just asked. So that was actually very helpful, and I'm glad too that the Ward 7 councilor put in his form conditions that I was going to ask for. So I'm happy to support that as well. So I would move that the public hearing be closed by roll call vote.
Councilor Terrio moves that the public hearing be closed by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Terrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the motion to close the public hearing for National Grid, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none the negative. Hearing is closed. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I further move that this be approved by roll call vote with the conditions added.
Councilor Terrio moves that this be granted by roll call vote with conditions. Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Terrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the motion to grant this order for National Grid to install gas pressure regulator station on Harbor at Washington Street, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter is granted. Appointments and reappointments.
We have held from the last meeting the mayor's appointments of the following with their terms to expire. Samuel Lim to the Scholarship and Education Committee, April 25th, 2022. Gabrielle Yeager to the Scholarship and Education Committee for a term to expire September 10th, 2023. And Judith Cohn to the Conservation Commission for the term to expire November 15th, 2021.
Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Hapworth moves for confirmation by roll call vote. I do not see Mr. Lim in attendance tonight. Do we have to waive rule, what was it, 30A?
I would so move.
We'll just check this. Make sure it's 30A. Not 30A.
29A.
29A. Got the A right.
That's it.
There we go. Councilor Torrio moves to waive rule section 28A to allow Mr. Sam Lim to be confirmed by roll call vote. All those in favor? Oh, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor McCarthy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 11 hands, all is opposed. Rule 29A is waived. Councilor Hapworth's motion to confirm by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski.
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
And Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the appointment of Mr. Samuel Lin, Gabrielle Yeager, and Judith Cohn, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries. Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move for suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Yeager and Ms. Cohn to speak, if they so choose.
Councilor Hapworth moves to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Yeager to speak and Ms. Cohn to speak. Seeing no objection, Mr. Yeager, you're up first.
Good evening. I would just like to take a moment to say thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to supporting our community.
Excellent. Congratulations. Thank you. I'll clap for you. Ms. Cohn?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great. I just want to say hello and introduce myself to everyone and thank you all and say that I'm looking forward to engaging with the commission, the applicants, and the community as I move forward with participating in the Conservation Commission. And thank you again.
Thank you. Congratulations. Very well deserved. All right. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Carol Hamilton of 4 Willow Ave to the Planning Board with a term to expire September 23rd, 2026.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Terrio moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Carol has been a real asset to the board in her years, and I'm glad that she changed her mind and decided to stay on. She's been a real asset to them.
Great. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councilor Presnowski.
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
And Councilor Madore.
Yes. On the reappointment of Carol Hamilton, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The mayor carries. Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move that we go out of order to page 12, communications from the mayor.
Councilor Riccardi moves to take matters out of order to page 12, mayor's informational page. Councilor Riccardi. Or Madam City Clerk.
We have a letter submitted by the mayor asking for her and Police Chief Lucas Miller to briefly address the council in order to provide an update about plans for October season and haunted happenings.
Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be received and filed.
Councilor Riccardi, move that this be received and filed. All those in favor? I see 11 hands. All those opposed? Matters filed. Madam Mayor and Chief Miller, please go ahead by unmuting yourself. Thank you. And I will mute.
Thank you, Councilor Medora and all members of the council. It's great to be here. I think this has been somewhat of an annual opportunity at the last meeting in September to come before you and share with you some of the planning that's underway and preparations for haunted happenings and Halloween. This, of course, also this year will include, as it did last year, COVID protocols. And, you know, I guess I would just open with a few remarks before turning it over to Chief Miller. I think each year we really try to learn and reflect from the prior years in an efforts to improve and adjust our coordination efforts between our public safety, our public works teams, and as well as the impacts that we know it can happen to residents as a result of welcoming thousands of haunted happenings revelers to Salem. This is different from last year when most events were canceled, but that does not mean that we're certainly not concerned about COVID and virus transmission. It does mean that thankfully we're in a bit of a different stage with our efforts to keeping our community safe. I thought I would just do a quick rundown with respect to where we are at with respect to current COVID conditions. You know, at this point, 82% of eligible residents have received at least one dose of the vaccine. It's a little bit misleading because it skews everybody together. Obviously, we know everybody 12 and under is not vaccinated because they're not eligible for the vaccine. We also know that our younger population, particularly between 16 to 29, has much lower threshold than 82%. We're running just above 50% for many of our young adults, doing everything we can to try and increase that vaccine rate, but we still have a lot of hesitancy with respect to our younger age population. Overall, the community is at a 3% positive rate. That's up from 2% just for the last few weeks where we've been hovering at, but still very much relatively low in comparison to any of the high points we had with respect to COVID being in our community. And of course, having vaccines does make this a very different year. Last October, vaccines weren't even available for anybody. We are seeing cases on the rise, primarily tied to the Delta variant, and we have seen hospital admissions continuing to creep up. Some of that is due to COVID. Some of that is just due to other items. You may have seen a story in the Globe today talking about Central Mass having just huge hospital admission requirements, ICUs filled and the like. Some of that due to COVID, but some of that due to other conditions. I think hospitals are really trying to understand what is the cause of so much activity in the ERs and in inpatient admissions as well. Currently at Salem Hospital, where we are served, and I think we all know Salem Hospital was at the center of COVID within not only our community, but in the Commonwealth. We had some of the highest COVID case counts of all the community hospitals in Massachusetts. At present, there are 13 COVID cases at Salem Hospital. There's another 6 or 7 suspected cases that are just waiting for confirmation. We've got 2 folks in ICU and they're on ventilators, so it's very serious, both of whom are unvaccinated. The average age of inpatient admissions with COVID is 46 years old. And here's the number that we're really keeping an eye on. Of those that are hospitalized, approximately 40% are breakthrough cases. Those are folks who were vaccinated, but still got sick enough to be admitted. Oftentimes there are underlying circumstances, but still something to be mindful of as we think about how we attack COVID in our community and how we still need to obviously exercise caution when we're around other people. For the month of October and frankly into the next 2 weeks in November, the Board of Health has put in place an indoor mask mandate that's been in effect for a number of weeks. We expect we'll have mask ambassadors on hand. We've already started on the weekends patrolling when we have many people in town. While masks aren't required outdoors, epidemiologists and researchers have informed us that's very low risk. We do know that we don't want our businesses to be the only ones having to enforce mask mandates or remind people about the fact that when you're going inside. So our mask ambassadors, who are just neighbors and friends, are really doing an outstanding job trying to educate visitors as they arrive about what the requirements are here. You'll see signage at stores. We've worked closely with our small business community. Again, so they're not the only ones, they're certainly not the first ones letting people know that masks are required. We're also communicating far and wide using Destination Salem, their app, so that when you arrive in Salem, you'll know what the rules are. We think that's a really important way to help curtail some of the discourteous behavior that we've seen at times when enforcing COVID requirements. In addition to masks indoors, the Board of Health last Friday voted to require a negative COVID test within 72 hours of attending any indoor event where there's 100 or more people. Those are public and private events, so all of the balls and fairs and festivals that happen throughout the month, as well as if you're holding weddings or events that might necessarily be private, are required to have this testing regime in place. In addition, to help with that, in addition to the 6-day per week testing that currently exists in Salem, I should point out we are very fortunate, that's through our partnership with the state, that you can get tested fairly frequently and pretty easily in Salem. Not every community has that asset. We're grateful to have that in place. Testing is now for the downtown facility taking place at St. Peter's Church in the rectory, and the high school for drive-through is still happening at the high school facility. In addition to that, we'll be setting up a rapid testing site. So these are the 15-minute tests that can be available to attendees going to these large fairs and festivals. And that they need to be tested obviously in advance of the events. So in addition to stop the spread or testing that attendees can take on through their own physicians or urgent care or places where they're coming from, we'll have this model that we'll be setting up right next to the PEM in the PEM Connects room to make it easy for anybody coming to these events to make sure they're complying with our rules. We feel like these precautions are smart and reasonable, and will help us with keeping residents safe, especially those frontline workers who might be attending every event. When you think about the large scale events happening in many of our hotels and function rooms, as well as the family members they go home to who might be 12 or under and aren't eligible to be vaccinated or might be immunocompromised or have other complications. I think as we head into our public safety planning, I'll turn this over to Chief Miller and just say I think we're really fortunate to have a police chief that brings his a great deal of expertise from his work in New York City, the NYPD, and also his work with the Joint Terrorism Task Force with the FBI. He'll be working with a top-notch public safety team. All of our police officers really go above and beyond, and our fire personnel, our EMS personnel, our public services team. It's a really coordinated effort throughout the month. Whether it's deploying barriers, closing streets, making sure medical aid calls are answered. There's a lot of planning that goes into this. Folks do excellent work. And as I said, we really do after-action planning and try and learn from the year before to improve upon our responses, improve upon the impacts this could have in our community, and make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep our businesses, our residents, and our visitors safe. It's obviously is an important year for both our business community and the many people, residents and visitors, who enjoy haunted happenings in Salem. And we're seeing higher numbers this year with the pent-up demand to travel. So we're expecting we're going to have a busy month and are gearing up for it and have been throughout the last several months. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. Madam Council President and the rest of the council, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I think it's plain to everybody that this is going to be a particularly critical Halloween, right? We have a Sunday Halloween after COVID. That's not to downplay the continuing threat of COVID, but I think there are a lot of people who've spent the last year indoors, who missed last year's Halloween in Salem, who are very much looking forward to being out and about this year. Sunday Halloween means really Halloween starts Friday afternoon and runs all weekend. And then, if you look at 2019, when I believe Halloween was on a Thursday, the weekend before was, again, a very, very busy time. So really, I think we're going to have 2 weekends of Halloween. At least that's the way we're going to treat it. I realize the whole month has Halloween haunted happenings related events, but in terms of outside help, the last 2 weekends are going to be the ones where we really bring in a lot of other people. And I'll get to a little bit of that in a minute. In terms of in terms of pre-operational planning, we have planned a tabletop exercise for next week that will simulate some unrest and then an associated terrorist attack. This is not in any way to predict such dire events, but it is a way to kind of test our ability to communicate with each other and to communicate with other city agencies and to communicate with the other law enforcement agents who will be assisting us over Halloween. I don't want to get too much into the details because it's going to be a surprise to a lot of the participants, but it's going to be very well attended. We have participants from surrounding law enforcement, surrounding police departments, Massachusetts State Police, several federal agencies, other city agencies, and our NEMLEC partners. In terms of greater threats, though, we have been in contact with the FBI. The FBI is conducting a special event threat assessment for us, which will hopefully reveal any threats that rise to their level. But I can tell you that at this time, I'm unaware of any specific threats to Salem or to Haunted Happenings festivities. We've also been conducting regular planning meetings with all of these players, not just in terms of the tabletop exercise, but in the actual planning of the events. NEMLEC being our probably the outside agency, if you want to call it that will lean on the most for outside law enforcement personnel. In thinking about Saturday, Sunday, the 30th, 31st, and then Saturday, Sunday, the 23rd and 24th, the personnel required for Saturday will be the same as Sunday, that is the 30th and the 31st. And for outside personnel, it'll be about 50% the weekend before. We have reached out to duty managers at major dining licensed liquor establishments to make sure we have updated immediate contact information. We're working with, we've already done training for the mask ambassadors, the mayor mentioned, to try to prepare them for de-escalation, for lack of a better word, but really dealing with people who don't take kindly to being offered a mask. We've distributed letters to licensed liquor establishments in regard to curbing lines, over-serving of alcohol, see something, say something reporting, and the one strike, you're out policy initiated by the Chamber of Commerce. That is, if somebody gets thrown out of one establishment, they'll be persona non grata in all of the participating establishments. We've asked Beverly Airport to notify us for any unmanned aircrafts detected in the Salem area throughout Haunted Happenings. We're planning to gradually increase the police presence downtown. And hopefully you guys have already noticed this in areas like Townhouse Square. We started off with officers helping to cross on the weekends, and we will begin augmenting both the number of personnel that are assigned to do that, the different crosswalks where we do that, and the days in which we do it. We'll kind of fill in the weekdays, starting with Fridays and Thursdays, to the point where you should see people out there all week. And then we'll make use of some of our special police officers, that is retired full-time members of the department, and some of the civilian members of the department who've also volunteered for that duty. The NEMLEC temporary headquarters van, their kind of RV that they bring, will be located on Hawthorne Boulevard. We've also requested additional cellular coverage, which will also be located on Hawthorne Boulevard. That is cows cell towers on wheels. So far, T-Mobile and Verizon have committed to increasing their cellular capacity. Right now, AT&T is insisting that they can do it without a cow, but we're still working on that. The downtown, as with previous Halloweens, at least 2019, will be divided into 5 sectors. Each sector will have a Salem Police Lieutenant and a sergeant in charge. Additional Salem Police personnel will be augmented by members of those other agencies I mentioned. I want to stress that will not compromise the coverage that the rest of Salem gets. Salem is divided ordinarily into beats, and those beats that aren't covered by the downtown coverage will receive not just regular coverage, but additional coverage. Obviously, Halloween is an occasion for trick-or-treating for children and children of all ages, we'll say, and that's kind of a danger spot. So we want to make sure that residential neighborhoods get adequate coverage as well. We'll have the Massachusetts State Police mounted unit. Certainly on those 4 weekend days that I mentioned, and possibly on the 16th as well, if we can get them. The Boston Marathon is on the 11th, and that takes up a lot of Commonwealth's police personnel to police it. But other than that, I think we have pretty much universal cooperation and participation from everybody we've asked. I think the only thing I want to stress is the degree to which, while we are absolutely committed to the safety of visitors to Salem, that does not in any way compromise our commitment to residents of Salem not having their lives turned entirely upside down. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Please keep your questions or comments brief. Councilor Dominguez.
Yo, Madam President, and thank you, Chief Miller, and thank you, Mayor, for this great information. My question is regarding on traffic and parking, not only for the downtown, but for the surrounding areas. I don't hear any plans that you can expose so we can alleviate the situation on the surrounding area with traffic and parking, especially in the Halloween night. Can you mention anything that you can share with us on those 2 topics?
Absolutely. The parking department is in the process of extending residential parking for the weekend of the 30th, 31st. I know they're mailing additional parking passes to residents who fall in those extended zones. And we will use the state police, in addition to Salem police personnel, to enforce parking regulations leading up to various haunted happening events. In terms of street closures, the downtown area, I mean, I can go through the long list of possible closures, but I suspect you're all familiar with them. You know, it comprises the Essex, Derby, Washington, Hawthorne Boulevard area and into the Common, and then some others. But I think what I want to stress is that one of the important reasons to have Salem PD personnel throughout the area, despite the presence of other law enforcement, is to facilitate residents getting to their residences despite any closures. Obviously, where there are crowds in danger, we can't always let somebody through, but where there's a barricade, if somebody is a resident of that street, we will try and accommodate them. Where we don't have police personnel actually at that barricade, there will be additional dispatchers to field those specific calls so that we can get somebody there as quickly as possible. That kind of falls under what I was saying about turning over residents' lives as little as possible, but some disruption is going to be necessary.
If I may, with a quick follow-up, I know that's happened every Halloween, but the coordination with the other forces, like fire and the medical departments, is being part of the plan. In case of any emergency, they already coordinate with you and.
So we will have mobile teams that will comprise emergency medical personnel and/or fire personnel, along with Salem police personnel. We'll have at least one gator, which is sort of a smaller vehicle that can transport medical equipment and potentially remove somebody unable to walk from a very crowded area. But even that, I think, it will be tough to get into a deep crowd. But in terms of coordination between fire and EMS, we will be joined at the hip.
Councilor McCarthy. Councilor McCarthy.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam President, through you to the chief. First of all, Chief, thank you for a very comprehensive update. It seems like you've expanded upon the plans we've had in the past and added your own touches to them and your own experience. I think that's going to work volumes as we move forward. I guess my only question is, and let me publicly state this, I am a fan of trick-or-treating. I love it when the kids come to my house. For the last bunch of years, except for the last year during COVID, I actually pass out hot dogs to the moms and dads. I cook hot dogs and pass them out. We kind of try to make it an event. Where Halloween falls on a Sunday, has any thought been given on changing trick-or-treating to, say, Saturday night, where Sunday is Halloween and then Monday's a school day anyway? And I know that the schools are going to be closed on Tuesday for the election, so they're going to school for one day. Has any thought been given to moving trick-or-treating to Saturday? Not that I was just wondering, not that I'm asking for that, but I was just curious.
I mean, I've been told that trick-or-treating starts on Friday and goes all weekend long. But no specific messaging has been put out yet about that, but I would certainly consider it.
Yeah, can I just maybe weigh in here too? We have looked at this in the past, Counselor. I thank you for raising it. As a working parent, I always would love it if we sort of thought of the last Saturday of Halloween, so you don't have to do the mad dash home from work and get everybody dressed up, and then you've got school the next day if it's on a weekday, as you mentioned. And we actually surveyed parents and families in Salem Public Schools about this a few years ago. Like, what would you think if we sort of officially changed trick-or-treating to that last Saturday? And overwhelmingly, people were purists in Salem and said, Halloween is Halloween, and you can't switch it. So we haven't honestly seriously considered it since that. And it's a little late for us to make that shift now. But again, as a working mom, I would have loved it. But I think we didn't want to mess with the purity of the event in Salem, given the results we saw from that last survey.
I was just wondering if it was on the table. Just that's for clarity. Now that we all know it's off the table, that's fine. But thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Presnewski.
Thank you, Madam President. I think I would be remiss if I didn't open my mouth about Halloween, having worked every Halloween since Salem began becoming a very popular spot in the early 80s. Hats off to you, Chief.
Don't let this year keep you out, Counselor. You're more than welcome to come back and work on Halloween this year. We'd welcome that.
I took you back.
I'm glad to work in the shadows in whatever capacity anybody will ask me. I was going to say my hat's off to Chief Miller. You're going to get baptism by fire. You haven't experienced Halloween in Salem, and you only know what you've heard and what you've seen. And I think everyone here on the council is probably feeling a little bit bad for you, because you just don't know what you're in for, and you can't really explain it into words until you've lived through a Halloween in Salem. But that being said, I think the public should know that year after year, the police department has always taken a look at what's worked and what hasn't worked historically, and built on what's worked throughout the years, and it has a very, very good working plan on what to do on Halloween that the chief has inherited. If there's only one word of advice, because I think that plan works and it works fine. It looks like it's going according to the schedules that have worked in the past. But just from working them in the past before. I know that communication between what's going on downtown and the rest of the citizens, the city and the businesses sometimes is a little bit of a miss. I know that things are fluid, especially on the Halloween weekend and even on some of the weekends before. My only suggestion is that if there are going to be street closures, if you're going to close down Washington Street, if you're going to close Essex Street between the Witch House and Townhouse Square, as soon as that's done, if there is some kind of a conduit, maybe it's one of the calls from City Hall or some kind of a call to the businesses saying, look, we've shut this down now, and just so that everybody knows where they can go and where they can't go. I know that calls are always made to fire and the ambulance service when we do shut down the streets, but I think the public has an interest, and especially the businesses such as the trolley and other tour groups should know when traffic is being shut down. That's something that we kind of missed the boat on over the years. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Councilor. We will do that.
I believe we have the Salem City app and the Salem.org app that we've encouraged the business community to download, and we will be pushing notifications such as road closures and parking alerts through the app. So usually every October, since I represent the downtown and being a downtown resident myself, I'm very cognizant of all the different issues residents experience. So usually every October I mail out a October survival guide. So I'll be sure to include that, and feel free to share with all your constituents. Any further questions, Councilor Dibble?
Thank you, Madam President. Chief, I think you're doing a very good job. I think all of us would say the same thing if we all had an opportunity to speak on it. Many months ago, we had several shootings and stabbings. It seemed like it was one a week or every other week for a while. And then all of a sudden it just kind of died down. And if you and your department had anything to do with that, which I think you did, nice job, because it seemed to go away. But we had another shooting earlier this week, if you could touch upon that. But hopefully it doesn't carry on into haunted happenings. And if you could touch upon any gang-related issues of gangs coming into Salem at all, we don't want to see them come here. We want to keep this a strong activity, and hopefully it can happen. But with regard to the shooting and it hopefully not continuing into haunted happenings, if you could just touch upon that, please. Thank you.
I think if I could attribute one thing that kind of kept that interrupted the spate of violence that Salem was experiencing, there were some significant high-level gang arrests made by both the Salem police and the FBI in cooperation. And I think that if I could point to one thing that disrupted it, I would suggest that. There has been, you're absolutely right, there has been several shootings recently, people weren't shot, but shots were fired. I think people were targeted. It was just bad shooting. And I can't at this point attribute it to gangs. The investigation is still underway. And I'd like to keep that close to the vest until the investigation is complete. I will, of course, update the council as soon as we have some kind of resolution. In terms of attributing it to a larger trend, I don't see a larger trend in Salem right now. I think these are anomalies, despite their happening night after, 2 consecutive nights. There's been a particularly strong strain of, I say heroin, but there's actually no heroin involved. It's fentanyl that has been available throughout the North Shore. It's resulted in some additional overdose deaths, and I think it kind of heralds some new players in terms of drug dealers. But that's all conjecture on my part. So I don't want to get too far into it, but I hope that answers your question.
Yes, very good. Chief, on behalf of everybody in Salem, thank you for what you and your entire force do to help keep Salem safe. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments for the mayor or our police chief? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. Going back to the COVID thing, I just got a lot of questions. I have some of my own about how do we explain the breakthrough cases?
Counselor Sargent, I think it's not really clear other than that the vaccine doesn't prevent you from, catching COVID or transmitting COVID. What we do know is it significantly helps with reducing the seriousness of the virus if you do come down with it. So there is an uptick in the breakthrough cases. Some of those are for folks who have underlying issues, so they're a little bit more susceptible to find themselves in a more serious condition. But it's one of the reasons we put in place an indoor mask mandate, and one of the reasons we're requiring the 72-hour negative COVID test before attending a large indoor event, because we know at these balls and fairs and festivals, people are eating and drinking and mingling with each other. It's much different than you might have in a restaurant experience where you sit down at a table with whatever group you're at. You're not generally interacting with the whole room. It's a little different for, a fair, a festival, a ball, where the mask might come off because you're eating and drinking, and your interplay within the entire function room is much greater.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I know people say that with the breakthrough cases, it's getting people with underlying conditions. But before the vaccine came out, isn't that what we were told for a year and a half, that the virus itself was getting people with underlying conditions, and that we had to vaccinate the people with underlying conditions first because they were the more vulnerable. And so that's what's, I'm getting questions, and I'm have my own questions about it. It's the same circumstances. It's getting people with underlying conditions. And I just can't understand how 40% of the hospital can be people that have already got the vaccine. And it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's just 40% of a much smaller number, though. Let's keep in mind that we're talking about 13 current COVID cases at Salem Hospital. That's still a fairly light number. Another 6 or 7, are possible. So, the vaccines are working. There's no doubt about that. When we listen to Dave Roberts, we had the opportunity to have him on with our business leaders talking about some of the precautions. Indoors is definitely riskier, but to the extent that you're vaccinated, you stand a much less likely chance of having a serious reaction to COVID. Our case counts are up. We are definitely seeing more people coming down with it, but we're not seeing hospitalizations at the rate that we saw with COVID prior to the vaccine. So I think that's the real win, is that you might still get COVID, especially with this Delta variant, right? It's a variation, but you're not going to be as severely injured or severely, hampered by it.
Yeah, but I've been watching the death count in a couple of countries in our state and our country and per 100,000. But the thing that struck me is when I read about breakthrough deaths. I read an article today going back 1 week. There were 88 total deaths in Massachusetts. 23 were breakthrough people already vaccinated, and 65 were unvaccinated. And that's just, death of course is pretty serious, and that means like almost 30% of the people dying have already been vaccinated. It's hard for me to understand, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
At present, Council, we've had 1 in 9 Salem residents since the onslaught of this virus who have contracted COVID, and we've had 83 deaths. That's a loss of Salem community members. So thankfully, we're not seeing, an uptick in again, the most serious cases and that has led to fatalities or severe hospitalization. So I don't want to confuse anybody. We're promoting the vaccine. We think it clearly is the answer. It doesn't mean that we're never going to see another fatality. And the 2 most serious cases in Salem Hospital right now who are in the ICU and on ventilators are both unvaccinated. So.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you, Chief Miller and Mayor Driscoll, for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate the efforts, and I want to make sure I thank our chief and all of our public safety team members for the extra hours, attention, detail that go into making October successful. It's a big part of what Salem's known for, and we're looking forward to this year, and we're looking forward to November 1st.
If I may, Salem is now my home, and it really is an honor to appear before you.
Excellent. Glad to have you. All right. Bye. Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we go back in agenda order to page 10, communications from the mayor.
Councilor Riccardi moved that we return to regular order on page 10, communications from mayor, seeing no objection. Madam City Clerk.
We have an order that the sum of $54,755.17 is hereby appropriated within the capital outlay account to be expended by the building department for various office reconfiguration expenses.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves to suspend the rules, seeing no objection. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly on this, if we've read the matter, this is for moving the purchasing department down from the 3rd floor of the main city hall to the 2nd floor to allow it to be handicap accessible, which currently the purchasing office is not. To do some more reconfiguration in dealing with setting up some space for the sustainability department and some other COVID-related changes to try and encourage distancing. This seems pretty reasonable. And if you, again, in the supporting documentation, there's a fairly good chance that we should be able to get reimbursement for at least some portion of this through CARES Act funding, which has not yet been allocated, but is available for this sort of governmental use. But in the meantime, this is something that comes out of the short-term capital budget to do, and it seems like a fairly straightforward use to do some redesign and reconfiguration to make the offices safer and to make space more efficient.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Or just comments? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Terrio.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councilor Presniewski.
Yes.
Councilor Marcello.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
And Councilor Madore.
Yes. On appropriation for the building department, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none in negative. The matter carries. Further communications to the mayor.
We have a resolution supporting the resettlement of Afghan refugees in the United States.
Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. Whereas global conflicts and war have fueled the largest refugee crisis since World War II, and according to the United Nations Refugee Agency, more than 65.6 million people have been displaced worldwide, with 22.5 million living as refugees. And whereas Afghan refugees are fleeing war, armed conflict, violence, religious persecution, and human rights abuses from the Taliban and other terrorist organizations in their country. And whereas Afghan refugees are being persecuted by Taliban forces and other terrorist groups for aiding the United States, our allies, and our relief assistance organizations for their work serving as interpreters, information sources, and cultural intermediaries during war. And whereas the lives and safety of American servicemen and women, as well as American diplomats, relief workers, and others who served in Afghanistan were protected thanks to the efforts, dedication, and sacrifices of these newly displaced Afghans. And whereas these refugees include men, women, and children whose whole families who cannot return home due to danger in their lives are being properly screened and reviewed by relevant federal government agencies prior to coming to the United States. And whereas Salem supports and embraces America's historic tradition of welcoming refugees as a central part of our values as a nation and unwavering respect for human rights. And whereas Salem is a sanctuary for peace, welcoming all neighbors and those who wish to be our neighbors without discrimination because of their race, ethnicity, place of origin, religion, or language. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the city council affirms the city of Salem's support for the resettlement of Afghan refugees through the U.S. State Department's U.S. Refugee Admissions Program, and pledge to continue to work with state and federal partners and local stakeholders to identify ways the city can help welcome these refugees to America and support their integration into our communities. And I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Hapworth moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank the mayor for bringing this forward. Somebody who has trained with and socialized with and befriended a number of officers from countries, military officers from countries much less stable and safe than the United States. I think that, those officers saw America as, I think they thought of America probably more than America thought of them. I think that, they saw us for all of our faults and our warts, and I think they looked at America as an honorable and trustworthy nation. And I don't know what the last few weeks or so have done to that image in their eyes, but I think this is certainly a small step in the right direction. I think the right message for the city of Salem to send.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councilor Persinewski.
I know earlier it was said that this resolution seemed to be empty and maybe politically motivated. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue or bring up that point, but I think it's an important history lesson, and I think it's proper that we bring this up because this city was built on immigrants, and a lot of them were refugees. My own family included. They were displaced. They were told back to their country, which wasn't their country anymore, which was given away to the Soviet Union. And they chose to come here into the United States and make a home here. They raised two children who have given a lot back to their different communities. And I think says a lot about the backbone of this country. We're a welcoming country. We welcome people who have come here who want to make a better life for themselves and their families and contribute. That's who we are. And I think it's appropriate at this time that this resolution be brought forward just to kind of give everyone a little bit of heads up and reflection as to who we are and what we stand for. So I'm in support of the resolution wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I too will support this, but I will be getting with Mr. Abisharik to better understand his concerns on this and to find a way to bring his community, which is part of Salem community, to the table on just minority relations and try to get him have a seat at the table that he's been requesting for years from the mayor's office. The seventh and final whereas, second to last paragraph, has the word sanctuary in it. And that's a dividing word where 4 years ago, in the effort to make Salem a sanctuary city, it really divided the city. Salem is not a sanctuary city, but several tried to make it a sanctuary city. At the end of the day, all the ordinance said was that people can call the fire department, the police department, or contact a building inspector or the school department in an emergency and get help without fear of being asked where they're from, et cetera. So to not cause further division and cause an issue with this, I'd like to move that a minor correction happen in this document. In the seventh and final whereas, simply say, rather than Salem is a sanctuary for peace, simply say Salem is a city of peace. So I move to make those, to have sanctuary for replaced with city of.
Councilor Dibble moves to amend the resolution, in particular, sanctuary for into city of. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Dominguez, under discussion. Seeing none on Councilor Dibble's amendment, do a hand vote?
Yeah. Ask for a roll call vote, please.
I see 3 hands for a roll call vote. 1, 2, 3. I think that was a 4th. Okay.
Just under discussion, Madam Councilor, if it's not too late, Madam President, I'm sorry. I agree with Councilor Dibble. The word sanctuary, when Salem was in the mix of the discussions about the sanctuary city proposals, I know that word was like a lightning rod, and it means different things to many people. And I understand his understanding that trying to change it to a city for police, city for peace. This country is a sanctuary for peace. It's not like we should be saying that Salem is a sanctuary for peace or a city for peace. It's basically, it's just words, you know. I think people get it, that the word sanctuary doesn't mean sanctuary. I'm not sure if I'm coming across completely right. Councilor Dibble is right about the way that the Sanctuary for Peace ordinance was structured. We don't ask where people are from. We don't care where people are from. We were here to protect them and embrace them wherever they were, and not have to them worry about our local government, our Salem government, Salem officials doing something different with them. So in a sense, yes, we are sanctuary that way, but we still understand the reasons behind the laws of the federal government and the reasoning behind it. I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but I don't think that we should be discussing the sanctuary part of it. I mean, it is a sanctuary for peace, and let's just keep it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio,
No.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
No.
Councilor Kwasniewski,
No.
Councilor Marcillo,
No.
Councilor McCarthy,
No.
Councilor Hapworth,
No.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
No. On Councilor Dibble's motion to amend Sanctuary 4 to City of, we have 11 councilors voting, 7 affirmative, 4 in the negative. The matter does not carry. Any further discussion on the resolution? Mr. Riccardi, did you raise your hand? No. I would just offer a very brief comment that this resolution does not mandate us or obligate us to change any of our policies or local regulations or our relationship with state or federal authorities, and that this resolution is simply being proposed or adopted by the government of the city of Salem as a signal that we are opening our doors to any potential Afghan resettlement refugees to the State Department. The State Department does not require such a resolution to be passed at a local level to allow resettlement, but it is a message to the State Department program that we are welcoming any refugees who might need resettlement, and that is the simple motivation and purpose of this resolution. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Hapworth's motion to adopt, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
and Councilor Madore.
Yes. On adoption of the resolution, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries. Page 13, motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. In the year 2021, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, stop sign, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 49, obedience to isolated stop signs is hereby amended by adding the following. Gable Circle, northwesterly bound traffic on Gables Circle at Puritan Road. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. And I move for adoption for a first passage by roll call vote.
Councilor Flynn moves for adoption for first passage by roll call vote. Under discussion.
This seems like a good idea for anyone that's familiar with this area of Gable Circle, where it kind of goes around and you have Puritan on one side. You do have kids exiting the school coming down the hill on the backside of Witchcraft. And I think this is a good idea to stop cars in any of these areas where school is letting out. And I think it's a positive thing. It's going to stop cars before they roll into Puritan. That's about all.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Counselor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I think this is an easy one to support. I have to agree with the Ward 4 counselor. I parked my car right there twice in the last couple of weeks, and cars really just fly right around the corner where it's like a blind corner coming around. And children are getting out of school right there, coming down the stairs, and it's a fairly dangerous situation. So I applaud the Ward 4 counselor for bringing this in an attempt to keep our children and families safe coming out of the school and in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on Counselor Flynn's motion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
and Counselor Madua.
Yes. On Counselor Flynn's motion to adopt the traffic ordinance amendment for stop sign for first passage by roll call vote, we have 11 counselors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. In the year 2021, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, parking prohibited on certain streets. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 51 is hereby amended by adding the following. Summit Street, westerly side beginning 190 feet southwest of Butler Street, running for 40 feet, no parking anytime from December 1st to March 31st. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. And I move for adoption for passage by roll call vote.
Counselor Flynn moves for adoption for first passage by roll call vote. Under discussion, Counselor Flynn.
This is another issue. I believe it got brought to Lieutenant Tucker with the traffic division over at Salem Police. But anyone that's familiar with Summit Street, it's a real tight street. It kind of brings you into Witchcraft Heights if you're coming down by Butler Street, if you're coming off of Boston Street. And you really can't have parking on both sides. It's really tough on plowing. That's why these dates are here from December 1st to March 31st. On the opposite side of the street where cars do park, there's a neighbor right in that area that they cannot really get out of their driveway or even think of plowing because it's so tight coming out of the driveway if you got cars parked directly across the street. So this is a recommendation. I think it's a good idea to give relief to the people that live in that house so they can clear their snow. There is other parking in the area. It can be spread out on that side of the street. So I think this will work, and I recommend that we approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on Counselor Flynn's motion for adoption for first passage, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Presniewski,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
and Counselor Madua.
Yes. On the traffic ordinance amendment, we have 11 counselors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative. The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Hapworth.
Madam President, ordered that the flag for Domestic Violence Awareness Month be displayed at Riley Plaza from October 26th to the 31st, 2021, and I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Counselor Hapworth moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Counselor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I want to thank Elizabeth from Hawk for bringing this forward, and just thank Hawk for all the work they do, supporting their work to end domestic violence and to support families that have experienced domestic violence.
Any further discussion? Counselor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the at-large counselor for bringing this in. As you know, I really support flying different flags down in front of the post office. And whether it be the pride flag, a domestic violence flag, nationality flags, I think it really shows a part of Salem, our pride in what we stand for and what we believe in. So I think this is a great thing. I wish we brought in something every month for different type of flags, and I encourage this over the next few years when I'm not here. But I do want to thank the at-large council for bringing that in. I think it's a great thing and a show of support for a wonderful organization to help people that have issues with domestic violence. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio? You
Yes,
muted.
it didn't unmute. I tried to click a few times. Yes.
Council Sargent?
Yes.
Council Riccardi?
Yes.
Council Kwasniewski?
Yes.
Council Marcillo?
Yes.
Council McCarthy?
Yes.
Council Hapworth?
Yes.
Council Flynn?
Yes.
Council Dominguez?
Yes.
Council Dibble?
Yes.
And Council Madore?
Yes. On the order to raise the Domestic Violence Awareness Month flag, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, the mayor carries. Committee reports. Council Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September 23rd, 2021. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of granting of certain licenses, tag days, Salem High School football, Salem High School marching band, and Salem High School percussion ensemble and winter guard, has considered said matter and would recommend that it be granted.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? See 11 hands, all opposed. It's carried. On adoption of the recommendation, Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to modify that it was not posted with the Committee of the Whole. It was just the one committee. So that was just a reading error on my part, but no other discussion.
Okay, thank you. Not co-posted. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? I see 10 hands. 10. See those hands? 11 hands. All opposed? On adoption of recommendation, I see 11 hands. None opposed. The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September 23rd, 2021. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a home rule petition for additional all-alcohol liquor license for Yahoo 130 Canal Street, has considered said matter and would recommend that it be granted.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? I see 11 hands, all opposed. Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. We had a really good discussion about the two locations, and I'll get to the other one right after this. But this one was approved unanimously.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation to grant to approve the home rule petition, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio?
Yes.
Council Sargent?
Yes.
Council Riccardi?
Yes.
Council Kwasniewski?
Yes.
Council Marcillo?
Yes.
Council McCarthy?
Yes.
Council Hapworth?
Yes.
Council Flynn?
Yes.
Council Dominguez?
Yes.
Council Dibble?
Yes.
And Council Madore?
Yes. On adoption of recommendation to approve the home rule petition for additional alcohol liquor license for Yahoo at 130 Canal Street, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none the negative, the mayor carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September 23rd, 2021. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a home rule petition for additional all-alcohol liquor license for Yahoo, 57 Loring Avenue, has considered said matter and would recommend that it remain in committee.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? See 11 hands. All those opposed, the matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation by roll call vote, Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. For this one, we're going to keep it in committee for a little bit more so that the city solicitor can work on some language that, or see if language could be added that could give some, I guess, some boundaries for any future use of the license at that location. And the concern was that it's a location that's right next to public housing and the university. And so if there's a way that we can provide some guidelines on a future use of the license at that location so that it doesn't turn into a larger, I guess, establishment with more activity in that location, which is mostly residential on that side, then we would like to see if we could add that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I forget, do we have to roll call vote to keep it in committee? No, okay. On the recommendation to keep the matter in committee, all those in favor? And see 11 hands, all opposed, the matter remains in committee. Further committee reports, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, September 23rd, 2021. The Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of $612,511.83 appropriation to the Transportation Enhancement Fund to support citywide unmanned rideshare service and other priority transportation projects, has considered said matter and would recommend adoption by roll call vote.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? I see 11 hands, all opposed, matter is carried. On adoption of the recommendation, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. We didn't discuss this at the last meeting because it had gone to committee by objection, so it also, at the same time, it also was only posted to the committee itself. But we had the meeting on Tuesday night. We had the mayor, we had the finance director, and we had the director of traffic and parking there. We also had a representative from VIA, the company that operates the Salem Skipper. We had a good discussion for about a half hour with a few questions about what the ride take-up has been, the number of users, the number of people registered on the app, information like that. The ride-sharing service has been quite popular. This with 3 to 4 vans operating at a given time. This will expand the usage to 4 to 5 vans at this point, and also expand to 7-day coverage and go later into the evening, actually till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. So, as well as bring some service out to Vinnon Square. The total cost of doing this is approximately $1 million. We are getting funding from Salem State University. We're getting funding from North Shore Medical Center. We're getting funding as part of the planning board agreement that allowed the complex that just was built behind Shaw's Supermarket to be built. And then we're also getting funding for this, and this is our transfer from mostly from cannabis revenues that we've brought in to our Transportation Enhancement Fund. So we've had a fairly successful first run of this during the course of this fiscal year, and we look forward to seeing this expand. It's been a very valuable service for people from some of our less advantaged neighborhoods as well. Very useful. People are using it to get from some of our housing complexes to shopping to downtown. And students are using it, so it's been quite successful in expanding transportation options for people, and actual sharing of the rides has been taking place. So I think this has been a good service, and it's just yet another alternative for people who live here.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm totally on agreement with this service. I think this is a great service. However, I have questions that I would like to ask based on the fact that this service is impacting other industry that we had, the taxi drivers. I don't know if by any change in that meetings, any information can arrive to see how that's going to be in conflict with those families who are actually depending on those type of businesses. So in my own opinion, I think that we should have a conversation with the owners of this industry and see how can we, as a city, kind of connect those services in a way that the impact is not taking them out of business. So we need, if we keep it expanding, because I understand that the program was a pilot program, started very little, now it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. What is the intention at the end? Are we looking forward to bring that service to comply with all of the transportation that we have locally, or we are actually taking into consideration that the business that we had in place need to have some type of alleviation? So my only concern is that I would like to see a conversation with this new expansion and the new owners, and the owners of the taxi cab, so they can have a better understanding where they are and what they can expect and what they cannot expect. That's my only concern about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor DeBoer.
Thank you, Madam President. Some time ago, this city council voted to recommend that the proceeds from the marijuana sales tax be used to offset the residential tax rate on our homes throughout Salem. And I don't feel as that is being done. We're spending those funds on other matters, including this one that we're discussing right now. So we're subsidizing a reduced public taxi system, if you would, possibly at the expense of several existing taxi companies here. So I think the Good at Large Council just now said it well. We should, and I brought the matter up kind of loosely at the committee meeting. We should have a discussion with the owners of the taxi companies and see how this is going to impact their business, perhaps put them out of business. I'm not sure. But we're doing this on the backs of the taxpayers in Salem by subsidizing this service. And I think it's a great service that we're offering rides for $2 anywhere in Salem and $1 for seniors and students and some people with some challenges. And that's great, but we are, again, subsidizing this. And are we going to put the businesses and all the drivers out of business, the private taxi companies? So I'd like to see this stay in committee, and we have a meeting where we invite the owners of the 3 taxi companies. We have the city solicitor there, and we have a deeper dive into this discussion. So I'd like to move that it go back to committee, and we have said meeting with the owners of the 3 companies.
Councilor DeBoer moves to refer the matter back to Committee on Administration of Finance.
Co-post it, Madam President, please.
Can we co-post this if it's going back? Madam City Clerk, since this was not co-posted before.
It's in the motion, we can.
I don't see why not. It's a motion of where it to go.
So Councilor DeBoer moves that the matter be referred back to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Under discussion, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I won't be supporting that, but just to make that clear. But when it comes to the marijuana revenues, just to clarify something for the Ward 7 councilor, we are in fact getting a local excise tax that is going into the general fund. That's how we're arranging things. We've taken that local option tax and we are collecting it. It goes in the general fund and it does offset property tax revenues. As part of the community benefits agreement that was negotiated by each of these companies, they also agreed to pay a separate sum into the Transportation Enhancement Fund. So this is not coming out of our general fund revenues. This is money that is specifically dedicated to the fund, and it does not take the place of the money that's going into the general fund through taxes.
Councilor Marcello.
Thank you, Madam President. I was just trying to look through my folder, but I couldn't find it. A few months ago in OLA, we talked about switching cab licenses from a regular cab to a limo, as I recall. And this was brought up because of the Salem shuttle. The city did meet with the cab owners, and they talked about not only this affecting their business, just in general, how their business was going. So the city has already had discussions with the cab owners. If there's new considerations, then sure. But I want to remind people that we did have this item in OLA, and we swapped the number of, I think it's limo. Council President, you could probably help out here, but the types. Sorry. Yes, thank you. Yeah, to help them with their business, and that's actually what they wanted. They requested that. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Which we adopted. Thank you, Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to be brief because I know this is my second chance. I agree. I mean, the conversation has been in place. However, I don't think that a conversation has been in place for the news addition. Remember, this was a plan that started as a small, now it's expanding. So in any given business proposal, communication needs to continue to be at the level where everybody be in the same level, present, past, and future. So right now, we're talking about a big expansion. We need to sit down again with them, explain them what will be the vision of the city in regard to the news program and how they can be affected or not. And we need to hear from them. The reason why I say that is because I had a very close conversation with some of the owners, and they are worried that this expansion might take them out of business. So the communication needs to continue. It is a continued effort, and I think it's very healthy. Doesn't going to affect anyone. The city in place is bringing a program that will benefit the city as a whole. I'm not against the program at all. I just want to see and hear more communication at every level in a way that we continue to move forward as a city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Presnewski.
Thank you, Madam President. Councilor Marcello is correct. We had a lengthy discussion with the taxi cab owners about the differences between a taxi license and a livery license versus how Skipper is affecting their livelihood. I'm in agreement with Councilor Dominguez that discussion was held when Skipper was basically first introduced into the city, and they had the foresight to see the impact on their livelihood, and it is expanding. I think the conversations should continue if on the impacts, and maybe we can adjust those figures between the cab license and the livery licenses again if need be. But I don't think that there's a need to stop this in its tracks from continuing, something that provides a great service to a great lot of people who really need it. So again, I think we should continue it, but not be brought back into committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I concur. I think that this program, when you look at the numbers from it, it's serving our most vulnerable population. It's serving our population that does not have, when we do the surveys, our population of people who do not own cars. It is only local. Right now, I mean, I would see this conversation if we were looking to expand to a more, if Skipper was going to go more regional, but they're doing shuttling around the city. The cab companies have the ability to go outside the city. The shuttle stays local. It's helping local people. It's kids are getting together in the Point and riding together to go to high school because it's more cost effective. It's saving them money. This is what the program's designed for. That's why we subsidize transportation programs. This is why we help our seniors by allowing them, because maybe they've gotten to the point where they can't drive anymore, or they don't feel comfortable driving anymore, where we allow them to travel around the city for $1 to go to a doctor's appointment, to go to Market Basket or any other grocery store they so choose. I'm sympathetic to the cab owners. and I understand, but they were given the opportunity early on to participate in the program or even own the program. But they, for whatever reason, I can't speak for them, but the program has taken off. It's shown a need. And I think that we have to recognize that there is a need out there. And the people that are using it are our most vulnerable population. The people who don't have, as I stated, don't have cars or are looking for a more economical way, because people have turned, unfortunately, as we've recognized from that meeting, people have kind of turned away from cabs. They've gone, some people go to Ubers or Lyft or whatever other service, and this is just another service, but this is a local service for our, we'll serve all people, but it basically mostly serves our residents and our most vulnerable residents. And I wholeheartedly support the expansion of it because it's just going to allow them more opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor DeVoe.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be very brief. I've already spoken on this matter once. I'm not looking to stop this program. A lot of people do use it. A lot of people are starting to depend on it. What I'm discussing here is the expansion of it. $612,000 is a sizable amount of public monies that will go to subsidize this event, to this service. And it may put 3 private companies out of business. All I'm asking is that we at least allow them to come to the table. We have a discussion to see if there's some compromise that might be available, or some rules or some sort of ideas that might help. I'm just asking that these owners have the opportunity to speak and to be heard by the city council before we potentially put them out of business. The motion that I made does not stop the program at all. Everybody can still go forward using the program. It just has a discussion about expanding the program and whether we should do it. And I'd like to hear from the taxi companies who employ quite a few people here in Salem. 3 different taxi companies have expressed an interest in being heard. I'm not sure why they missed the meeting, but I'd like to say, again, my motion was to put it in a committee, invite the taxi companies in, be heard, and bring it right back before this council. But in the meantime, the service does not stop at all. It continues. So it doesn't affect anybody at all. The service will still be there, but we can at least hear from 3 businesses in Salem by our action tonight. If we take the action tonight, might be put out of business. I think it's worth at least a single meeting to allow them to be heard. Thank you, Madam President. I encourage that we all vote to put this in committee so the meeting can be heard, and then bring it right back in. And perhaps we'll all vote on this unanimously, or perhaps we'll have a compromise or some input from our 3 businesses here in Salem. So I will be supporting this fully, Madam President, and I encourage everybody else to as well.
Motion on the floor from Councilor Dibble to refer the matter back to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted. I want to make it clear that the money for this program that is currently running runs out at the end of this month, so on September 30th. We do not have another council meeting between now and that date. And without that funding, the service will stop. And we potentially disenfranchise more than 500 riders of the service weekly. I myself have used the service to pick up my kids from camp. I have seen who I shared rides with. They're workers from our largest employer at Salem Hospital. They're workers who work, who live in the Point and go to other homes in our city for work. And it's very clear that the people that is serviced by this program will depend on it if we expand it. So even if it's a gap of a couple of days, it could drastically and disproportionately impact their livelihoods. And we have gotten around 20 emails saying that, thank goodness for the service, it costs $1. Actually, for those of you interested in the program, the first 10 rides are free. It's free. that they have built a dependency on this program because it's so affordable and it takes them on very important errands and trips to keep their lives going. And we all know that we need a little boost for those of us who are financially struggling right now. So even if it's a day without the service, that means a missed day of work, a missed day of appointment that could have been scheduled. So I would just caution my colleagues to not stop this funding, even if it's for a few days. And the discussion with the taxi company owners, this should not preclude that discussion from going on. Anyone is free to bring it in order to continue that discussion, particularly about delivery and the taxi licenses, as the good counselor at large person needs to be community. Any further discussion? None on Counselor Dibble's motion to refer the matter back to the committee. Second by Counselor Dominguez. All those in favor? We have 3 hands. All those opposed? We have 8 hands. The matter is not referred back into committee. Adoption of the recommendation. For the discussion. Seeing none, on adoption recommendation to approve, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On adoption recommendation to appropriation for the Transportation Enhancement Fund, we have 11 councilors voting, affirmative, non-negative. The matter carries. Further committee reports, Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem in City Council, September 23rd, 2021. The Committee on Government Services co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred a portrait of a representative of the Namkeg people be hung in council chambers, and the portrait of Andrew Jackson be moved to the anteroom, has considered said matter and would recommend to allow the city clerk to place the Namkeg portrait in council chambers in a prominent location of the clerk's choosing. And I move for adoption by roll call vote.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? You see 11 hands, all opposed, matter is carried. On adoption of the recommendation of, the recommendation is to enable Madam City Clerk to hang the portrait of the Namkeg people, representative of the Namkeg people, in a prominent location in council chambers at her discretion. That's a proper motion, Madam City Clerk? Okay, under discussion, Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. This discussion goes back to last spring. The initial order was to remove the Jackson portrait and move the Namkeg portrait in. There wasn't a will of the committee at the time to move the Jackson portrait, but there was a will to get the Namkeg portrait into the council chambers. I think specifically making sure that it was not just in City Hall, but that it was in the city council chambers where decisions are made, and to have it, as multiple members mentioned, to have it in a position that was prominent and noticeable to the public, that wasn't on, say, a back wall, but was prominent when you first walked in. This is just to back up a little bit. The artist who was commissioned to paint this portrait, Chris Pappin, will be in Salem on, I believe, Monday. So he'll be in Salem on Monday, sort of just visiting the community, and then also looking and wanted to just sort of see the spot where this was going to be hung. So it was important to a number of people, including Chris, to know the spot where that was going to be at. It's potentially going to be to your left, Madam President. But this is at the city clerk's choosing. She still has some research to do about, what portraits were placed in what locations and why. So that was the I guess the most elegant solution was to ensure that portrait isn't sitting somewhere waiting for the city council at some point to allow it in, that it is allowed in. It's at the city clerk's discretion, and we should know more about where specifically that will be at some point in the near future.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent, is that a hand?
Yeah, are we, is all the other discussion over? I don't want to butt in. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you say that again?
I just want to make sure everybody was done speaking. I thought I was speaking out loud. I didn't want to make sure I wasn't butting in on somebody. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to speak about Andrew Jackson a lot because comments are made, and I understand, he wasn't a perfect man, but I just want to say a few things about him as far as being elected 2 terms as president, serving in both the House and Congress. He founded the Democratic Party. He also made it so that every man could vote, which led later on women getting the right to vote. He didn't like it that only rich people that own land could vote, so he made it so that every man could vote, and I wish he had made it so every person could vote, but it was a step along the way. He balanced his budget. He even had a surplus, which paid for our building a city hall, which is the main reason his picture is on the wall. And I asked those that would seek to cancel him to try and understand him, the time in which he lived, to understand that history is not really ours to change, but more to learn from so we can improve moving forward. He was also a general in the Battle of New Orleans, which hadn't been won. We may not have won the War of 1812, and that would have changed our history. He was a 13-year-old soldier in the Revolutionary War, captured by the British, understanding that more of our soldiers died in captivity during the Revolutionary War than died in the battlefield. And an officer tried to kill him with a saber, and he lived with a scar on his head and his arm from blocking that. And everything he did as a general, as a soldier, was with the approval of his superiors. And everything he did as president was with the approval of Congress. And get into the crux of it, but the main thing that can't be denied is the Indian Removal Act. And not a good thing when you're looking at it. But it was voted on by the House of Representatives and passed by the House and the Senate, and Jackson signed it. It was not an executive order. Now, we may not agree with it today, but it was the will of the people through their elected officials back then. But I did some other research, and I don't agree with it, but it made me understand what happened back then a little bit more. I Googled allies of the British during the War of 1812, and it came back as almost every Native American tribe. Keeping in mind that he was a veteran of the War of 1812 and the Revolutionary War, and most members of Congress in that day were most likely veterans of the War of 1812 and many of the Revolutionary War. So that just doesn't condone that, but it helps you to understand a little bit more of it, that after that war, the feeling of the people, we can't understand today how close we came to losing that War of 1812, how close we came to not being a country, and how the citizens and the elected officials of that day felt. I just wanted to get across that he was not acting alone. He was acting with the approval of Congress, and it was not an executive order. So I just ask people to think about allowing someone to be judged by the time they lived in, the people who knew him, and understanding that Andrew Jackson was a flawed man, as are so many of our leaders today, myself included. But I dare say we could not be a free country without him and men and women like him. We may not also be a free country if those who seek to cancel him had stood in this place. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President, and I thank you for that history, Councilor Sargent. There's two points I kind of wanted to make. I hope that at some time while I'm alive, I can walk into the city council chambers and see portraits that mean something to me. Some women, maybe. You could walk into that chamber and think that men were responsible for the history of Salem. And I think we've learned, as we've learned about history, as Councilor Sargent just told us, that women have not gotten their due, and minorities have not gotten their due, that history is told by white men, basically. And I think that's the crux of this argument. But I'm just going to leave it at, I hope that we can find more space on the walls of the council chambers to represent more people in Salem than white men, and dead white men at that. I also want to say that I would like to add an amendment to this to put some context on Andrew Jackson's portrait, to tell the story of why it's there, why it's important in Salem, because he did distribute this money that was excess in the U.S. Treasury that actually built City Hall. That's why his portrait is there. As far as I can tell, I can't think of any other reason why it would be there. So to tell that, but then also put his term as president in context. This is happening all over the country right now in museums. If you go to Monticello, you'll find a completely new tour where they're putting Jefferson's life in context, that he was a slave owner, that a lot of the accomplishments that he's being credited for having to do with agriculture and creating new species of plants were because of the slaves that he owned. They did the work, right? And so the tour that you take gives context to his life, and yes, talks about his what he did as president and what he did outside of his presidency, but also gives history to the other people that lived there, the slaves that he held, and talks about their story also and their accomplishments and their contributions. And I think if nothing else, if we can add some context to Jackson's portrait, if it's going to be hanging in that chamber, that would be a really good step in the right direction. And then we can talk about portraits of women at another time. Thank you.
So Councilor Musillo moves to amend the recommendation to add a description under President Jackson's painting, to be determined.
We'll let the history buffs write it, but they can find context for it.
A description of historical context under President Jackson's portrait in council chambers. Is there a second?
For a second.
Seconded by Councilor Turiel.
Under discussion.
Under discussion. Councilor Turiel, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councilor Torrey.
Thank you, Madam President. I support that. I would suggest in general, as somebody who's walked into that chamber many times over the last 10 years, to see all these portraits here, and as somebody who himself will someday be a dead white man, but I won't be around for it at that point. I think one thing I think we would appreciate in that room in general would be some more context to all of the paintings that we have in there, who these people were, why they are there, what their context is. I think that's something that makes history more valuable to everybody about everything. And I don't see it as, as cancellation, as some people say. I see this as, as we learn more, as we grow as a society, as we grow as a people, we learn more and we change. And it's always important to understand the context, the times in which things happen, in which people were alive, in which the people who these portraits were made for existed. But at the same time, it's important for us to know what's different and for us to understand what they did, but we can still look at it from our terms as well, as so long as we understand what happened then as well as what we are today. I think it's positive. History there's really no downside to history. So I would ask that, in the process of doing this is going to involve moving things around. And I would hope that we can have historical resources that can add some context to all these portraits. I think that would be a wonderful thing to add to City Hall and to the council chamber and make things a lot more relevant to the people who walk through there, because someday, hopefully soon, people will be in that room again. So I support this, and I would recommend that we do this with all the portraits and ask Madam City Clerk to, do that as part of getting things rearranged.
Sorry, I'm having power issue.
That's all we have, people.
Madam Assistant City Clerk is trying to rescue me. Thank you. I think I saw Councilor Dibble's hand up next.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd have to agree with the Ward 5 City Councilor. It's about what I was about to say, the same thing. So thank him for beating me to the punch. I strongly recommend, when we talk more about the 200 years worth of wallpaper and painting up on the wall than we do about all the portraits. So I think the Ward 3 councilor made some very good points, and I agree with it. And hopefully she'll welcome the friendly amendment from the Ward 5 councilor, and we go forward and get this done. It would be wonderful to learn more about these important figures, that we just know that they were a president or that they were a general or whatever they be, as well as the new painting that's coming up as well. And perhaps everything can match, and we have a nice description, and we share the history of the council chamber portraits. So I would applaud, hopefully the Ward 3 council would welcome the friendly amendment, and we go forward.
I was listening, even though it didn't look like it. So Councilor Terrio's friendly amendment is to add descriptions for all the portraits. Is that correct? Councilor Marcillo, do you accept?
I would accept that, but I also want to make it clear that this is not for Ms. Simons to write herself, that we will get people in to help write this. I want to make that clear. It's not her job.
Yes, I fully agree. I've always wondered why these portraits are up here. I would love interpretive descriptions and put all of this into context, including the one on my left, which is very important. So the amendment is to add descriptions under all portraits in council chambers. Any further discussion on the amendment? Oh, sorry, Councilor Sargent, you were next.
Oh, no, thank you. I agree, again, and no timeline or no pressure put upon anybody to do it. I know that, and it shouldn't be the city clerk. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I agree with Councilor Marcillo. Let's add people, but we don't have to subtract other people in order to do that. Let's make the group larger, not pull one down to put somebody else up. And I agree that if we can write a little bit of summary of all the pictures, I think it'll help. Especially young people coming forward to walk to that woman, not just say, who is that guy or who is that woman, going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy, and then Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. I wholeheartedly agree with the discussion, but I just wonder, we all agree that there should be some sort of description with each painting that's in the chamber, but I wonder if we're compound. The issue tonight is to bring in the new portrait and bring it into a location in the chamber, as discussed by Councilor Porosnewski during the committee meeting, a location of prominence, which I wholeheartedly agree with. But I think if the Ward 3 council would consider with maybe just holding back her amendment and bringing in an order, maybe at the next meeting after we can have a discussion with the city clerk and maybe some local historians as to what the best way to kind of incorporate that into an overall. I don't want to just put an order in without totally understanding it, how it will be done. Maybe it's something on the outside of the chamber as you come in that recognizes locations and then adds to it without putting it directly under. I have more questions than I have answers, but I agree with what everyone's saying. So I don't know if we can make that by just putting a broad-based order. We're going to, put verbiage underneath every painting and how that's going to work. And maybe it doesn't belong in the chamber. Maybe it belongs just outside the door so people can reference it. I'm not sure, because at the same time then the verbiage, with ADA compliance we're probably looking at it being in Braille as well. So there's a whole bunch of questions I have more than answers, but I really believe that it's the right way to do it. I think that, from someone who's been in that room, as Councilor Turiel just referenced, a lot of times I know the backstory of a bunch of the paintings. I probably should know more than I do. And I think that would be helpful for anyone walking into the chambers. So I just don't know if we want to add to what we're trying to do tonight, and maybe, give it a little more thought, and maybe talk with the city clerk offline as to how we can do this and what the proper channel is, and then bring it in as a separate order to make sure that every painting in there is properly recognized, is the way it should. So that's just my thought.
Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Madam President. Great discussion this evening. I appreciate the conversations that have been happening around this. I had similar comments as fellow good Ward 1 Councilor McCarthy regarding the process of this, as well as the original order, because I believe the original order was stemming from removing a portrait from council chambers, and we have come to this conclusion, which I think is great, and I am looking forward to the new portrait that will be commissioned and hung in council chambers in a prominent location. But all of the other conversations that we've had this evening, I feel definitely need to continue in probably in a committee. I don't feel that all of the similar to I have similar sentiments to my fellow good Ward 3 councilor. She stated it well. I cannot try to reiterate that myself. But I also, when listening to the good at-large councilor's history of President Jackson, and one comment that he made was, he made minor steps along the way, and these were his little steps along the way in history and changes that he made, specifically in regards to changing voter rights, for example. And it kind of stuck in my head, and it's something that I'm thinking about now, like what is our step along the way? What is our little piece of history that we are going to think about and really make a difference going forward? And while this may seem kind of strange and rudimentary to those listening, I do think it's very important to continue this conversation. We're in council chambers in the second oldest city hall in the country. It really should be treated with that respect and have that information provided out to the public when they're in there. I have only had 3 or 4 in-person meetings in council chambers. I will be the first to admit I could not name one portrait right now what is hanging in council chambers. I looked at them 4 times. I do not have them memorized. I had to pull up old photographs when we were having these conversations to be like, well, what was this in there? So to provide more context to really kind of make this a living history, I think is excellent. And also to have a forum and a path of yes, this is what the state is now, and all of this research from our city clerk that has been put into it, and the effort that has been put into why the portraits are there, background to the portraits. We want to keep that, we want to record that, but I think we need to expound onto that and move forward of not just what is there, but what is our step along the way to what it will become as well, or what we want to see. So I appreciate the conversation this evening, and I'm not quite sure where we are with the amendments. So.
The motion on the floor is Councilor Marsillo's addition to add the description under each portrait.
Can I just say something?
Yep.
I will take the advice of Councilor McCarthy and withdraw and write up a motion for the next meeting to have a process. It's a good plan. I only started out with Andrew Jackson's portrait, but it grew. So I would agree that we need a better process now. I just don't want it to die.
So Councilor Marsillo moves to withdraw the amendment. Any further discussion on the recommendation? Counselor Hapgood's recommendation. And again, the recommendation is for Madam City Clerk to hang the portrait of a representative of the Namkek people in a prominent location in council chambers at her discretion. And that's the recommendation. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? 11 hands. All those opposed, matter carries. Let's get this done. My computer is running out of battery. That's a good incentive. Communications from city officials.
Following order was submitted by the city clerk. Ordered that in-person early voting for the November 2nd, 2021 city biennial election take place at the City Hall Annex, 98 Washington Street, on the following dates and hours. Saturday, October 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday, October 25th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tuesday, October 26th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wednesday, October 27th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Thursday, October 28th, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Counselor Sargent.
I move for adoption for roll call vote.
Counselor Sargent moves for adoption by roll call vote. Under discussion, Counselor Sargent.
For discussion, I have to offer an amendment to Saturday, October 23rd, 2021. And the city clerk has asked, and I think we'll all agree that it's going to be difficult for her to get downtown on the Saturday, leading up to Halloween like that. So the amendment is to amend the early voting location for Saturday, October 23rd, 2021. Early voting will take place at Salem High School instead of City Hall Annex because it happens on the Saturday before Halloween. This will avoid the voters having to fight through traffic, parking, and those issues with Halloween. So I make that friendly amendment.
Second.
The hours remain the same?
Yes.
Okay. On Counselor Sargent's amendment for early voting date of Saturday, October 23rd, to move the location to Salem High School.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor McCarthy. On the amendment, all those in favor? See 11 hands, all those opposed, the amendment carries. I appreciate that. I was about to make that amendment. On adoption as amended, any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Toya.
Yes.
Counselor Sargent.
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi.
Yes.
Counselor Kwasniewski.
Yes.
Counselor Rosello.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth.
Yes.
Counselor Flynn.
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez.
Yes.
Counselor Dibble.
Yes.
And Counselor Madore.
Yes. On the order for early in-person voting, we have, as amended, we have 11 counselors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, matter carries. Petitions.
We have petition from Comcast to install conduits on High Street.
Hearing ordered October 14, 2021. Further petitions.
We have petition from Starbucks for extended hours to be 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week.
Before I bang the gavel, Madam City Clerk, we only have one Starbucks in the city, right? Just want to make sure.
This one is it's on Canal Street. It's a new Starbucks. They got approved to be open from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and they're asking for the 1 hour extension in the morning. It's 136 Canal Street.
Canal, okay.
Yeah.
And the one at Washington is no longer open.
No, they're still there.
I don't know about that.
Okay. I just want to make sure I have the right address.
136 Canal Street.
136 Canal Street, okay. Hearing ordered October 14, 2021. Further petitions.
We have petition from the residents of Owen Square to hold a block party on October 31st from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Councilor Marcello.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted.
Councilor Marcello moves that this be granted. Under discussion, Councilor Marcello.
Thank you, Madam President. This is, they have a very small street. It gets very crowded with trick-or-treaters, and they have some big plans this year, and so they'd like to close off the street to make it safer.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Marcello's motion to grant the block party, all those in favor? We see 11 hands, all opposed, mayor carries. Further petitions.
We have petition from the residents of Pleasant Street Ave to hold a block party on September 25th, 2021 from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be granted.
Councilor Hapworth move that this be granted. Under discussion, Councilor Hapworth.
I'm just excited to see this on there. I'll be there. I hope to see some of you there as well.
It's the first one for this street, I think. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Hapworth's motion to grant the block party, all those in favor? The 11 hands, all opposed, mayor carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the Friends of the North Shore Education Consortium to hold the road race Festivus 5K for Autism on December 12th, 2021.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Festivus for the rest of us.
Cool.
That's a Seinfeld joke. This road race has been going on for years. It starts down at Pickering Wharf and actually runs up Lafayette Street. And I know that the good Ward 5 councilor is, having lubrication put into his knees. I think he may be up for a return trip, maybe to walk, run, jog, or however he wants to phrase it for this race. I know this race is very dear to his heart. I know he's run it a bunch of different times. So he's actually had some competitions with some of our former colleagues in the past on this race. But this race is a great little road race, and it raises funds for a wonderful cause. And I move for to be granted by roll call vote.
Is this the one the Council Terrio ran with my husband, with my kid on his shoulder?
While you left us in the dust, Madam President.
It could very well be. I didn't want to mention any other people's names or and how it works, but he has been known to participate in this event. I think it's because he can stop at his house if he has to. But I'm not sure.
Councilor Terrio.
I would consider it's not necessarily a coincidence that the 1 mile mark is right in front of my house. But no, it's a great cause. I have participated in some form or another every year. Last year, I kind of gutted my way through it slowly, but did it. I'm hoping to be able to actually run in it this year as well. There's a tradition for any ward councilors who want to sign up for it that you can get your ward number as your bib number. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. And I look forward to hopefully seeing a few of you doing this. It's a great time, it's a great cause, and it is a lot of fun.
For at-large councilors, what number do you get?
Not having been one, I am not aware.
Big numbers.
9, 10, 11.
9, 10, 11, 12, yeah.
Councilor Hapworth? I don't know how many fingers you count out.
Councilor Hapworth doesn't count. He's actually fast.
I don't need one.
Is that 5? Oh, Councilor Dibble.
Oh, I get 5, but I would also say that the council president's son will probably be running this, I'm guessing, and probably beat us all anyway.
We'll see. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I also have participated in this quite some time ago, several times, but I've also toured each and every one of the North Shore Education Consortium schools scattered around the area. The work that they do is absolutely phenomenal to help so many children, not just from Salem, and there's a lot from Salem that they're helping, but from children from the entire North Shore. It's absolutely amazing the work they do, the loving care that they go through, and the way they help and really help so many people. It's really a specialty, and my heart goes out to these, not just the children, but to the educators and the staff of the NEC and what they do. So this is an easy, very, very easy thing to support. And I would like to thank Ms. Johnson for bringing this forward each and every year. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor McCarthy's motion to grant this by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk.
Councilor Terrio.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councilor Presnewski.
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo.
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
You're muted.
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On the petition from the North Shore Education Consortium to hold a road race for Festivus 5K for autism, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, the matter carries. Further petitions.
We have the following license applications for public guides, taxi cab limos, and vehicle for hire taxi operators.
Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be granted.
Councilor Marcillo, move that these be granted. All those in favor? See 11 hands. All opposed, the matter carries. Further petitions.
We have the following two public guide license applications.
Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be denied.
Councilor Marcillo, move that these be denied. All those in favor? We see 11 hands. All opposed, the matter carries. Further petitions.
We have three claims.
Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Councilor Marcillo, move that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? See 11 hands. All opposed, matter carries. Unfinished business.
We have a second passage of a zoning ordinance to replace gender-specific nouns and pronouns in the City of Salem zoning code of ordinance.
Councilor Marcillo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second passage by roll call vote.
Councilor Marcillo moves for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On the second and final passage of the zoning ordinance amendment, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, the matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of a traffic ordinance amending Ocean Ave and Shore Ave.
Councilor Turner.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote.
Councilor Turner moves for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Council Torrio,
Yes.
Council Sargent,
Yes.
Council Riccardi,
Yes.
Council Presnewski,
Yes.
Council Marcillo,
Yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Hapworth,
Yes.
Council Flynn,
Yes.
Council Dominguez,
Yes.
Council Dibble,
Yes.
and Council Madore.
Yes. On the second and final passage of the traffic ordinance amendment, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 affirmative, none negative, and the matter carries. Councilor Sargent.
Move adjournment, please.
Councilor Sargent moves to adjourn. All those in favor? I see 11 hands. All opposed. We are adjourned. Good night, everybody.